In the tunnel.
In the tunnel.
In the tunnel. You're listening to In the Tunnel.
Hello and welcome to In the Tunnel. My name is Jeremy.
And I'm Sean.
And we are bringing to you preview on football, looking back at the preseason, and just recapping some stuff and looking forward to the start of the regular season.
Yeah, so let's just go through. Well, the preseason's already over by when we're recording this, so I feel like it's a good thing to just go through the teams and maybe give like a highlight team of who impressed you. What team do you think will continue how they're doing in the preseason to the regular season?
So I mean, the thing about the preseason is records can and also cannot lie depending on the team. Like, it's very hard to tell if a team that has like really good third stringers from a team that you know is a contender every year. So it's hard to take preseason records to heart. If you're a fan, sometimes it's like the high of your season, sometimes it's the lowest point of your season. It doesn't always necessarily mean anything, or it can be a sign of things to come. So we're here to talk about those teams and scenarios. What do you want to start with, Sean? You want to go AFC, NFC?
Let's just do NFC and then go to the AFC afterwards.
All right, sounds good. All right, so I mean, the Seattle Seahawks, they're a team on the decline, but an 0-4 preseason probably isn't indicative of how bad or good they're going to be this year. I'd say they're probably somewhere in the like 9-7, 8-8 range this year.
Yeah, I would agree. They're pretty. I think they're going to be a pretty average team this year.
Yeah, I don't know. As long as they have like Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin, and okay offense, and if you add the running back they drafted in there in the first round, if he works out well, then like they have a chance at 10-6, I'd say. But their defense definitely is like in a rebuild.
It definitely leaves a lot to be desired right now.
Yeah. Let's see. The 49ers are 1-3. It's too soon for me to say. With a Garoppolo-led 49ers team, there's a contender, a pretender, or somewhere in between. So I'd put a pass on the 49ers and just say, like, I don't know what 1-3 means, but I'm not going to make any conclusions yet.
I really think that it's more of him needing to just, get on the field with that team and figure him out.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
it's obviously more than just him for the team, too.
I mean, yeah, but, like, I feel like in, like, the 2 weeks to come, you got to see how he, like, acts on the field. Like, is he comfortable in the pocket? And what he can see with his line, right? Just to really feel how it's going to actually impact him. Now that, like, you're not just going to play all the random people like you do in the preseason where no starter starts in, like, until, like, third quarter or maybe just the first two drives or whatever, right? So,
yeah.
The next couple of games will be the real test for the Garoppolo-led team.
Yeah, depending on their schedule.
Yep.
Because even though it is the NFL, some teams do get lucky and they get the cupcake start. They get the frosting first before they get to the rest of it. So, we'll see. The Los Angeles Rams were 2-2. I personally think that the Rams have enough personalities and big-headed talkers on defense where they could finish somewhere along the 9-7, 8-8. I think they'll be better if everybody meshes together, but I think that there's too many talking heads in the locker room for it to go well all year long.
I'm leaning more towards like a 7-9 team.
Yeah.
Like lower than 50-50.
Plus, they acquired guys like defensive players who are on the decline. Like Aqib Talib is probably past his prime. I don't understand why they made that trade. Like if the Broncos defense, that was a couple years ago one of the best, is looking to get rid of him, there's probably reasoning for that in terms of decline. It could just be contract kind of like they don't want to keep his salary on the cap, but I think there's more to it.
Yeah, that's another thing we won't really know until let's see. But I don't like the Rams. I just don't see them. Like I have more faith in the 49ers and Seahawks to be the top two in this division.
And then the Cardinals. Cardinals were 3-1 in the preseason. They'll probably be like 7-9, 6-10 this season.
Yeah, like
I don't trust that Sam Bradford's going to play a full year healthy, and then that means that Josh Rosen is probably going to play at some point, and you got some growing pains there. So the defense is okay, but they lose Tyrann Mathieu and a couple other pieces. So like no area of their roster is like perfected.
Yeah, I agree.
And they lost wide receivers. They still don't have like a clear. Or no, David Johnson. Never mind. If he's healthy, but like there's a lot of question marks there. Not enough certainty to be ready to like make it to the playoffs again.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like I just have this feeling that the Rams and the Cardinals are going to be the bottom two of the West.
Mm-hmm. You think it's going to be Fitzgerald's last year?
I can see it, but you never know.
He just keeps going.
Yeah, he definitely hasn't, isn't the type of player he was before, but I think he can still play. It's just up to whether he wants to or not.
Yeah, the past few years has been his career highs and catches.
Yeah, I know.
So.
But I think from when I'm watching him, he plays a lot differently than he used to.
Yeah, he's a slot guy now.
Yeah, so and he's proven he can still play the game. So as long as he wants to play the game, I'll gladly, if I was the Cardinals, let him play.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
He's the face of their franchise still, and he has been.
Yeah, I think you're hard pressed to find a better one.
Yeah, so
for that franchise.
And I don't see him not wanting to play, so I'm gonna say he's just gonna keep going out there.
It's his birthday too.
Well,
a very happy and hopeful birthday to Larry Fitzgerald from the In the Tunnel cast.
Yeah.
First one that we've given out. It's like an award, but nobody feels great after it. It's like a James Harrison participation trophy. It just gets thrown away. All right, NFC South.
South it is.
You got the Saints. They went 3-1, and the Panthers. They also went 3-1.
So out of those two, though, I think the Panthers are actually the more up in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got shit pumped by the Steelers last night.
Yeah, but that might be a point for you, but that's not the point for me.
I'm in terms of defensive depth, because your third down defense starts the last preseason game.
Yep.
So they gave up 32 points in the first half.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah, like you can't leave old ass Julius Peppers on the field, you know, as a drive goes on. So they're up in the air for me.
Yeah, no, I just like out of those two teams, like that 3-1 does not. I don't think the 3-1 reflects them at all.
Yeah, and I think as Cam Newton gets older, he has to become more of a pocket quarterback, and I don't think his willingness is there yet. So he's the reality will catch up to him at some point, and so will the decline.
I mean, not even the decline. It's that he needs to. I mean, there's no way you could be this physical going into your later years. So he needs to adapt, or he's just gonna get tossed to the side. With how quick quarterbacks are coming into this league, like you can't tell me that no quarterback is on the lookout to being tossed to the side.
Right, and as much as it's a pleasant change of pace to have a quarterback who can be a dual threat like Cam is at his size, it's not necessarily something that's needed. I mean, Tom Brady can't run, and he's like the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah, but they play two different styles and two different schemes. So I'm not saying that running shouldn't be a part of the quarterback's game. It can totally be a part of the quarterback's game, but he needs to be comfortable with the rest of the game.
Yeah.
He needs to be
you
able
have to be
throw.
A quarterback first.
Yeah, he needs to be able to throw in the pocket under pressure. He needs to be able to scramble to let his people have time, right? And that's why running for him, like, it helps him with some of the things that quarterbacks need to do, namely like scramble and be a little more agile. But he needs to pick up the rest of his game to at least an average level in order to use his running to a better extent. Because then everybody's not only worried about him running, they're worried about him passing. And that's really, if you're going to be that style of quarterback, you need to be a double threat.
And let me take this another step deeper. He throws off of his back foot every time.
Yep.
Which it's an inaccurate way of throwing the ball.
Yep.
But he puts so much spin and force behind it that he doesn't step into it, and then the ball sails. So when you figure out that like a 37-year-old Greg Olsen is the top target because he's the only one who's like a tall enough threat to go up and get it, that's why.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying though. Like, he's a quarterback. Yes, he leads his team, but I don't think the passing part of his game, which is basically one of the biggest fundamentals of quarterback, is really up to stuff.
Yeah, I think he's an average quarterback with a running back skill set.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd put him in completely average yet. I think he's a little below average due to how he throws and how it's going to transition to the later parts of his career.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not to say he's bad. I'm just saying that the way he's currently playing will not transition well to the later parts of his career.
I think you got a point there. All right, so back to the Saints. I mean, they're a good team with a defense that's somewhat on the rise. They have pieces that are on the rise, but they also have pieces that are kind of like, same. They always had that like average defense. So they now have exceptional players and they have average players.
Yeah, but I mean, I have nothing to really say about the Saints because I think that they deserve their 3-1. Mm-hmm. I think they can keep this momentum into the season, and they'll have a pretty good season.
They got Teddy Bridgewater, and like that definitely bolsters because Drew Brees is older. He hasn't been a banged up quarterback in past years. Like he doesn't really get injured, but as he gets closer to 40, it's a nice insurance to have.
Yeah, and also like again, you're saying they added some pretty good parts, and they still have the old, parts of the old defense that are still there. They're still like they're Jordan. Dependable. They're not amazing. They're dependable. So I that's all I got to say about the Saints. Like I think they'll do pretty well this season.
Yeah, I think what is it? They went 12-4 last year, maybe?
Yeah, it's somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think 11-5 more likely this year.
But I mean, it's still, they're gonna, I don't think they're gonna be bad this year, which is the point, right? That,
right, yeah. I just think 11-5 is more realistic than 13-3 with a team that's, inching toward its end. Like, it still has a couple years left, so, like, the window isn't closed, but at the same time, like, Alvin Kamara could have, like, a sophomore slump, in which case I think they still have Mark Ingram.
Yep.
So, like, you do have to give, and injuries affect every team, so you do have to give it, like, a little bit of a buffer.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not really here to argue whatever you predict of their record. I'm just saying that they're going to have one of the better records.
Well, I'll argue it even if you are here to do it. Yeah, I said it.
Okay, well, anyway, let's move on. So the last
Tampa.
two teams... What?
Tampa Bay?
Tampa Bay and the Falcons, right? So
yeah. Yeah. Woke me up for a second there. All right. I mean, this show is basically, we're just going to go through, like, all 32 teams and then the end. All right, so Tampa Bay, you got no Jameis Winston for 3 games, which could be the biggest blessing ever because he's not a consistent quarterback. So perhaps the most consistent play you're going to get from him is from him not being on the field. Plus, the dude can't stop from doing stupid shit off the field anyway. Like, telling little kids that, like, men are above women, that's probably not the best idea for a public figure.
yeah, I mean, I just think it's the fame getting to him and him not watching what he's saying.
Well, I mean, he was doing that in college, but it's still fame. But Ryan Fitzpatrick, he probably, and I saw on ESPN today, they're not guaranteeing that Jameis is going to have the starting job when he gets back. Ryan Fitzpatrick, it's a good placeholder gig.
Yeah, but how long is he going to last?
That's what I was about to say. It's like, there's only so many one-year contracts the dude's going to,
Dude,
he doesn't last 2 straight years in a row at the same high level. It's just, it was the same way with the Jets. It was the same way with the Bills. Like, the dude just doesn't play 2 good years in a row. So if you get one out of him, congrats to you. But he's not going to be back for another.
Yeah, but he'll play consistent seasons, consistently good or consistently bad, but none of the consistently good ones back to back.
Well, I'll say consistent most of a season. Because when those Bills and Jets teams that he did good on also, they crashed.
Yeah, they did. True. But I mean, if you're, see, the thing is, I don't even I think Winston is gonna get the team back at some point because I don't trust Fitzpatrick for a full season. I
don't think that they have anyone better in terms of talent.
Yeah, but he's getting there in age. Is he really gonna last this full season? And
no, I mean Winston.
Yeah, but who are they gonna get?
That's my point. Is I think it's Winston's to lose when he gets back.
Well, I can see. So I do think it's Winston's to lose ultimately, but I can see the Bucks holding it out from Winston depending on how Fitzpatrick is doing for a couple of games.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm not saying immediately it's Winston's to lose. It's really Fitzpatrick's to see how long he can run with it because throughout his seasons he's had an either really bad season or inevitable crash within the season at some point. So it's really, when's that going to happen? Is it going to be a bad season from the start, or is he going to be pretty good for 8 games and then start his fall, in which Winston will get it back?
Yes. We'll see. I mean, plus they don't really have a running game either. Doug Martin, I think, is gone.
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm not really sure who's playing running back there. Mike Evans is your only although I guess Humphreys isn't a bad 2 or 3 receiver, but they don't have an insanely deep wide receiving core, and
somebody's got to step up that we don't know.
Yeah, that defense is okay, but it's not great.
Yeah. So I mean, no offense there, but even for Fitzpatrick or Winston, there's not really many pieces there set up for them to do well.
Yeah.
So
I think that was it. Their coach, Dirk Cutter. He's probably going to get the axe after this year.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I could see it.
I don't. It's not going to be completely his fault either. They just
not at all.
Don't have the team to do it.
Yeah, true.
All right, and Hotlanta. They went 0-4 in the preseason.
Totally does not reflect them.
Yeah, no. I think it depends on how the rest of the division does. I think if the rest of the division does good, they're going to be like another. It's going to be like 3 8-8 teams or like near there. But
what I'm thinking is the Bucks are kind of out.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. Like
the Bucks are like 5-11,
and then I'm saying that the Falcons. It really depends on how the Panthers do. Because the Panthers are the only other wild card type of team in this.
If the Panthers win 9 games and the Falcons probably win like 10.
Yeah, something like that. I would agree.
And the Saints. So I think the Saints probably are still going to win that division.
I think the Saints will hit around 12 wins, maybe. I think that's their max.
It's going to be close.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying it really depends on how the Panthers do to drive how the Falcons and Saints and them match up. Because they're the only other kind of like what's going to happen team in this division.
Mm-hmm. All right, NFC North, got the Vikings, Packers, Bears, and Lions. So the Vikings went 3-1. I think that they probably go like 9-7, 10-6.
Yeah,
I don't think that Kirk Cousins is that good.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you saw from our fantasy episode, I do not believe in Kirk Cousins.
Nope.
At all. So
I honestly don't know why the Redskins franchise tagged him a bunch of times. I don't understand why he got like a near $100 million deal for 3 years. I really don't get it.
Yeah, okay, but my point is, who were the Redskins going to get if they didn't have Cousins? I can understand the Redskins to an extent.
It's the Redskins. They'll go at best 8-8 anyway.
Yeah, but I mean,
bring RG3 back.
I can understand the Redskins to an extent, but who's gonna? I don't understand signing him to like a $3 or $100 million contract. It makes no sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I think 9-7, 8-8,
8-8. Yeah,
maybe
like that.
10-6, maybe if the thing is the Vikings also are one of those teams that like if they do really well one year, the next year they kind of like they don't return to that form. They kind of peter out a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm like maybe this team gets 8-8. I say they might just stay below 500.
Yeah. Packers. It's the Packers.
Yeah, it's the Packers. They're gonna be doing pretty well.
They'll find a way to make the playoffs. They'll be like 9-7, 10-6, 11-5. They're that team that never quite wins 12 or 13 games.
They make the playoffs though. That's all that matters.
They'll make the playoffs most years.
Yeah.
The Bears, I think, are actually one of the up and coming teams.
Yeah.
If they play their cards right, I think this year is a 7-win season. 7-9.
Yeah. I'll go with that too. That's a pretty good number for me.
And Detroit, it's hard because Detroit, Matt Stafford, he's such a streaky player, and the defense is so bad.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a 5-win season.
5 or 6.
Yeah. It's funny how we're just going through all these teams. Like nobody's like we've predicted nobody to be like 4 wins or lower, or or 12 wins or higher yet. So
yeah,
we'll see.
So this is the only like this division, right? We have the Vikings, who I mean, a lot of people put hype in like Cousins for some reason, but neither of us believe him, right? The Packers, we think they never hit to a point where they can get like those 13, 14 wins. I think they did it once, maybe.
Yeah.
And then the Lions have just been so up and down. One season he'll go like 11-5. The next one he'll go like 5-11. Okay.
The Lions are your ultimate like wild card team.
So the only team that really like I'm looking for them to prove themselves is I want to see the Bears do well. And even though like I'm agreeing with Jeremy here, saying they're going to be a 7-9 team, like prove us wrong. Get above 8 wins. Like they can do it. I think it'll just be really hard. And they need some luck.
Yeah.
All right, so
let's see.
East?
Yeah, NFC East. So let's see. We got the Giants. They went 2-2. I think that they'll be an okay team. I think that like they need to get to a more consistent spot again, and you're not gonna have more than. I'm sorry. You're not going to have better receivers than Odell Beckham to sign on the open market, so they had to give him a new deal. Unfortunately, they were kind of like in that spot where...
Okay, but all things to be fair, I don't think that deal was bad.
No. If he plays well...
And I think he can.
And stays out of trouble... And keep in mind, he hasn't been the most in trouble guy.
Yeah, and
like off the field, he's been surrounded in stuff that is troublesome, but he hasn't necessarily partaken in that trouble.
Yeah, and I think the contract was good, and he was also shown like maturity and like how a lot of people will just walk until their contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do that. Like he showed up, he's playing. Yeah. He's proven that he wants to be a good player, like a great player in this league. So I got no problem. Yeah. I think that the Giants are still a couple pieces away from like contending again. I do think they could be like a middle of the pack team, but
yeah, their defense sucks.
I'm not really hoping for much more than like 7, 9, 8, 8.
Yeah, their defense sucks this year.
Yeah, and so like but that's like the thing they need to improve on until they can really be a contender. So, what do you think?
No, I'm on board with you.
All right, so next team, let's go Cowboys. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, another team that, like, it doesn't matter what they do if they get to the playoffs or not. They probably are gonna find a way to blow it.
But see, so my thinking is right. Your playoff, your contenders in this league in this division have to be the Cowboys and the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, I'm a Giants fan. They don't have it this year. As much as I'm going to root for them every game, and I hope they prove me wrong.
Yeah, but Dak Prescott is a game manager. He's not a great quarterback.
Yeah, I agree, but that doesn't mean that the team itself is going to lose. I'm just saying I think that the Cowboys are the only other team in this division that the Eagles that are competition of the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's definitely not the Redskins, and I don't think it's the Giants this year because they're still missing quite a few pieces on defense.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for the Cowboys to, challenge the Eagles a bit, do pretty well. Like, don't just give the division away.
Yeah, I don't think that they will. I don't think that the Eagles are... I think that if history has shown anything, it's hard for an NFC East team to repeat and win the division 2 years in a row. So I don't think that the Eagles are going to repeat. But they'll probably be a wild card team.
But my question is, right, to that, right? But you're agreeing with me that I think the Cowboys are the only other team that can compete for that division spot.
I think that the Giants are close. It depends on how the NFC East as a whole does.
Yeah, true. The NFC East is too volatile, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
All right. So you want to let's talk Eagles and Redskins then.
Yeah, I mean the Redskins.
They're the Redskins, like.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Like, again, middle of the road.
Middle of the road, yeah. Hopefully.
And
Eagles. The Eagles are still going to do well, I think.
Wild card team. I'm giving 10 wins.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I can see.
9 or 10 wins.
Okay.
It's hard because they had a lot of pieces leave the roster this year.
Yeah, but I still don't think they have as many holes as a full team.
I don't think
than the rest.
Yeah, not yet, but I think there's only so many guys you can have. I think that's something for next year. I think they're going to have some holes next year.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about this year, so.
Yeah, well, but next year.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
AFC.
AFC. Woo.
So, you want to do the same? So we'll start with the West?
Yeah,
Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders.
Raiders went 3-1. That's not going to mean anything.
That means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, they're if they can put it all together, and if they don't trade Khalil Mack before the season, like the rumors are, that they might they could be at best an 11-win team. But I think that's a stretch.
I think that's a huge stretch, man.
I mean, I'm still. It's 2016 for me, so. Last year they showed signs.
I don't know, man. Are they really gonna? I have no faith in the Raiders until they actually show something.
I mean, they put a lot into an old team.
Yeah, but the old team has constantly failed.
Yeah.
So, are they even gonna be good enough to get to 11?
7 wins. 7 wins.
All right.
I was just putting a ceiling on it.
Yeah, I still think 11 is too high of a ceiling. My ceiling is 8.
Fine, Browns 16-0.
Oh boy. My ceiling is 8 wins, but I'm really expecting the Raiders to be in the dumps this year, 6 wins.
I mean, if you play in the Oakland Coliseum and you play in a dump.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so
the Broncos. I don't think that Case Keenum's a bad quarterback. I think he was a decent pickup for a team that needed a quarterback.
Definitely.
I just don't know that it's all going to mesh yet.
No, I think so. I agree with you. He's not a bad quarterback.
I think it's more of it looks better for next year than it does for this year.
Exactly. It's definitely more of a next year move.
Your ceiling on that one's 9 wins.
Yep, 9 wins.
Maybe a wild card. Maybe. Well, it's either a wild card or you miss it. It depends on the rest of it because I do think that the Chargers, who went 2-2, are going to make the playoffs this year.
Okay, I can see that.
Up and coming team that barely missed the playoffs last year. If they put it all together just a little bit more this year, I think 10, 11 wins.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
I don't think that they're going to get a bye, but I think that they're going to be a 4 or 5 seed.
Yeah, from just missing the playoffs, I think they will at least have that shot at being the 5 seed.
Mm-hmm. And the Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs, so they'll win 12 games and miss. Or not miss the playoffs, but they'll lose their first game.
Okay,
in the
that makes more sense.
It's a Friday night, folks. It's a Friday night. Let's everybody remember context is key. It's a Friday night. Not everybody is winning here. All right. AFC South. The Texans. I think that if Deshaun Watson stays healthy, they're an 11-win team at best.
Okay.
At worst, I think an 8-win team.
Yeah, their floor is 500.
Yeah, and again, that's all contingent on Deshaun Watson being healthy. If he gets hurt again, then that floor drops.
That's their season.
So yeah, to 4.
Their season's over when he gets hurt.
Yeah, I mean they could do better than 4 wins with solid backup play, but I think their floor in terms of what could happen drops.
My floor for them in terms of what could happen drops to whatever wins they're at when said bad things happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Colts. Andrew Luck's back throwing. They've finally invested a little bit into the offensive line.
Finally.
And a little bit of the defense. So, 7-8 wins.
Yeah. 8 wins. They'll not make it. They'll just be,
They'll be a bubble team on the outside because there's only so many 9 and 8 win teams that can get in. The Jaguars they've got the best chance of maybe any division leader from last year outside of the Patriots of repeating because I don't know. They just have a really solid roster.
Their roster's pretty solid this year. Yeah. I would go with them winning the division.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. I think that, outside of the Patriots, I think they got the best chance of going back-to-back division champs.
Okay, yeah. Fair enough.
And then you got the Titans. 0-4 in the preseason. I think they're going to take a step back this year.
Yeah.
I think that they got some... they got a couple young pieces like that Taiwan Taylor or whatever his name dude is. I think that they're still an up and coming team, but it's still not there yet. It's not there yet, and they're still a team that's dominated by one side of the ball or the other, and not both at one time.
Yep.
So 6 or 7 wins.
Yeah, I'm good with 6 wins.
All right, AFC North. Ravens went 5-0. I don't think that's going to matter.
It doesn't
matter.
Joe
Flacco. Now that the pass interference rules are different, I don't know that Joe Flacco's taken as many shots down the field.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that him being kind of an inaccurate passer. Or I should say inaccurate passer, I don't know, and I just don't know that if Lamar Jackson takes over that they're ready for that yet. They invested a lot in, having good wide receivers and tight ends this year, but they invested absolutely nothing into having a good running back.
Yeah.
And their defense, it's still Terrell Suggs and the rest of the world out there, so...
Yeah, they're going to take a small step back.
Yeah. I think they're a 7-win team.
Yeah. I agree.
Steelers, they went 3-1, I think. Yeah. I'm just going to let you take this one because my emotion and my heart is going to get in the way of this.
To be fair, because with the North, right, the Browns are going, they're going to, win a game, maybe. Let's get through the rest of the North, and we'll go to the Steelers.
All right. Well, I think the Browns are going to win 5.
I say their ceiling is 4, ceiling.
No, I think realistically they're going to win 5.
All right. We have a small.
I think outside of Todd Haley being there because the dude's just an asshole, I think they have enough guys who are actual vocal leaders and want to put the roster. Or not the roster, but the team in the right way and in a winning mentality and do what it takes to reshape the attitude there. And I think it'll pay off. It's going to be a journey.
But I don't think the reshaping of the attitude around that organization, because it's not only within the organization, it's outside the organization too. Because who wants to become a Cleveland Brown? Let's be honest.
I mean, they got Carlos Hyde. Let's.
Yeah, but I mean,
they got some solid guys. They got Michael Kendricks before he got in trouble. That was a good ad before the insider trading thing.
Yeah, But my thing is, right, like, it's going to take that organization itself quite a while to fix it. And how much is this, like, going to affect the team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think they're going to be, like, a 4-win team. But maximum. So.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I mean, look, I'm not opposed to an in-division rival, or lack thereof. I'll use the word rival very loosely. Losing more games than I think.
Yeah, okay, so Bengals.
And then the Bengals, I mean, their height is probably 10 wins. That's a stretch.
Volatile, because I can see them being like...
They could be a 10-win team, or they could be like a 4-win team.
Yeah, I can see them being like a 6-win team or a 10-win team, depending on what shows up.
Yeah, and let's switch up the word volatile. Let's go with another V word. Let's call them violent. And the fact that they're just going to blow up at some point. It doesn't matter if they're a good team or not this year. It's going to implode at some point. This team's not winning a ring.
Oh, no, I don't think they're winning a ring, but, like, yeah, it's just, when is the implosion going to happen in your case, right?
Yeah, it's a ticking time bomb. You just don't get to see the timer.
Yep.
All right, so
last one. Steelers, right? So with that team, like, you still got Roethlisberger, and I don't know, like, I see that team being up there, right? Because in my opinion, right, there's not much other rivalry for you guys in the North, because I have the Browns only winning 4, the Bengals, like, depending on when they implode, right, they're gonna win, in my opinion, 6 to 10. So let's say 8, and then the Ravens are like going downhill from last year, in my opinion. So they're gonna win like 7, 8, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves the Steelers, like, they have everything, like, the way that the rest of their division looks, they have the pieces to win that division.
Yeah, I think that the window is going to close on how long they have that.
Yeah, but now I think they win the division.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's much of a challenge. Like, unless the Bengals somehow stop from imploding until, like, week 15, like...
I disagree. I think that if there's going to be any team that presents a challenge, it's the Ravens. It just always seems to be like that.
Yeah, but I think... So I think the Ravens might present a challenge to the Steelers, but I don't think the Ravens will present the same challenge to the rest of the league to keep their, like, win-loss record in order to scare the Steelers from taking, important
right.
games.
You're saying we could lose both games to the Ravens, but the Ravens may not do well enough against the rest of their opponents for it to matter.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm fine
exactly.
with that. I'll drink to that.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's my opinion, because I do think that the Steelers have one of the better shots at being the clear winner, especially pretty early on in the season, like, because of how the rest of the teams are shaping up to be, right? Like, the Ravens taking a step back, the Bengals being this imploding mess, and the Browns are still in rebuild for the past, 10 years.
Yep.
And you're saying it yourself, right? The window is closing, so you got to take advantage of it.
Unless they draft... I do think that Mason Rudolph is going to be a good quarterback, and I think the defense is probably more on the rise than it is on the fall.
But I think they need the pieces...
I think that Bell is probably done after this year. Yeah. So unless James Conner is like the next guy up, which he looks like he's getting better, I'd say unless the guys who take over for Ben and Bell are some studs, then the window is closing for a year or two. I don't think it's going to be like a 3, 4, 5 year plan.
Yeah, but
it's the window Steelers. Closing, you just don't have that.
Yeah, but I mean, by the window closing, I mean on the current roster set of players, right?
Oh yeah. We're not bringing Bell back.
Yeah, but if they don't draft well to to have the people in the pipeline to take over.
Yeah, but if history speaks correctly, they'll do fine with that.
Yeah, so I mean,
they'll find some dude in the 4th round who will be like an all-pro. They'll be fine.
Yeah, so I mean, there's your AFC North. So that leaves the
AFC East. Patriots went 3-1. They'll win the division
again.
I don't know.
No problems.
18, 19 wins in a 16-game schedule. Sure. They'll find some way to do it.
They'll go like 13-3
those bastards.
Or something, 14 wins.
Yeah, 13-3 or 14-2. Unfortunately, like it's more realistic to say 14-2 than 12-4 with the Patriots. So
yeah,
they just roll everybody, and there is no Brady suspension. So although there is an Edelman suspension.
Yeah, but I mean, with the way Brady and Belichick operate, that's not going to affect them.
Tom Brady has no shortage of white guys to throw the ball to.
Oh my god.
Hey, it's true. Chris Hogan is going to do amazing for fantasy players.
Okay.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, Edelman, loss of Edelman for however long is not going to hurt the Patriots.
4
the way
games.
Belichick and Brady operate, he can throw to anybody.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 4-game suspension. It means nothing. The Bills are going to miss the playoffs. I mean, they'll probably have the same record as last year, 8-8 or 9-7, whatever.
Yeah,
they'll still miss the playoffs because again, it's that thing of like there's only so many teams that can make it when there's only 6 spots available.
Yeah,
and this year the wild card is
so. The Patriots are the immediate division winners because of 14-2 or 13-3. None of the other teams are going to hit that.
Yeah, and this year the wild card is going to be stronger than it was last year.
Yeah, so
I mean, if everything pans out like we think.
Yep. Let's go Dolphins.
6 wins.
Yeah, I'm about there too.
It's hard to win when you wear teal.
You can put it that way.
I mean, they haven't really won much in the past 20 years.
Yep. All right, so
Jets to wrap it up. 6 wins, 5-6 wins.
Yeah, I think they'll be with the Dolphins down at the bottom. So
they're a team that still needs to build more.
Yeah, so like the thing with the Bills is like. How do they handle their out-of-division schedule to really see where they go? Because, like, I think they should at least go 1-1 with the Dolphins. I think they beat the Jets both times.
Mm-hmm.
So it's how do they handle their out-of-division opponents?
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to do well.
Yeah, and I mean, I hope they do provide some, keep up with the Patriots a little bit. Because you hate to see the Patriots get, 14-2 every year, and then the rest of the division be at, 9-7 max.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's the only reason I was bringing it up. You got the bottom dollars in the Dolphins and Jets this year, I think. So, you're really only looking at the only team that has really something that might be able to pop them to, the double-digit win mark. It would be the Bills, and it really depends on how they do against the outer division.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Well, there you go. There's your recap and preview. It ended up being more preview than recap, but there's 32 teams. Bank on it. And we're not going to give any Super Bowl picks or anything like that, just because
I don't believe
we don't believe in the Super Bowl.
Well, I don't believe in giving your picks now.
You
don't know
that's what you were
going to
say. That's what you were going to say. I thought we were going a different way.
No, but unfortunately, the season, anything happen, right? I'm not just going to say, oh hey, the X team wins the Super Bowl, and then week 1, unfortunately, someone would get hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's such a physical game that I'm not fond of giving a Super Bowl prediction until like we get to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's more of a week 4 thing. Week 4, week 5, week 6.
Yeah, that's a little bit better too because then you're at least at like
5 or 6.
You know what
5 or 6 wins.
Gonna be
5 or 6 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we've been playing that game all night. All right, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Can't wait for football season to start. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Yep. Sorry for the late episode.
Yep. It's been a whirlwind of work, but we're balancing as best we can. All right, we'll catch you next week.